Why is everybody trying to move to Florida? Stick around. This is the video for you. I'm AJ Baduke, and this is
Andrew Armonger.
And we're with the Emerald Group right here on the Emerald Coast. Listen, we are doing videos every week from Pensacola to Panama City Beach and everywhere in between. So if you have any interest in any of those areas, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ding the bell so that you get notified every time we do another video.
We're getting calls, texts, and emails pretty consistently about people moving to this area. So if you are considering it even a little bit, make sure you reach out to us earlier is always better. If nothing else, we can give you a little bit more information. So all of our contact information is on the screen, and we would love to chat.
So badly.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we're just going to talk to you guys about what comes to mind for us when we think about why people want to move to Florida. And there might be a couple of instances in here that you hadn't really considered, just things that we have noticed living here as, Floridians.
Now, most of this is going to be local to our area, but some of it does kind of apply to all. In fact, almost all of it applies to all of Florida, but there are some local nuances here that we find a little bit interesting that we will get into as well. Well, first and foremost, I think one of the biggest reasons is the money, because you get paid lots of money to be here by not giving it to the government.
That is true. There is no state income tax.
Okay, yeah, that's the easy way to say it.
Yeah, we're gonna give it to you that way. There is no state income tax for Florida. There aren't many states in the U.S. that do that, but ours, we're able to do that because we have so much tourism that feeds our economy directly. So we don't have to actually tax our folks that much.
Yeah, so we really do appreciate anybody who has come to visit, because it has helped us out quite a bit.
Directly. The next thing is for our Florida men. Like, no kidding. Who hasn't actually Googled, hashtag Florida man?
Oh, different kind of man. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
not
where
like our men here are amazing.
Yeah, that's where Florida men do outrageously dumb stuff, like try to fist fight a tree or wrestle an alligator in its own habitat. Like, this is real stuff that happens on a fairly regular basis, and I'm sure it gets worse than this. In fact, it's so funny. My dad doesn't watch the show, but he sends all the time. He sends probably like once a week, because me and my sister live here, of some dumb things some Florida man does, and he's just like, Florida man story of the day. And some of the stuff I'm reading, I'm like, what are y'all doing? And the biggest advantage of living here is that person might be your next door neighbor. And that's pretty cool.
And that's pretty cool. You might be having beverages with him, one night, and the next morning you wake up and he's
missing a hand because he tried to fist fight an alligator. It's just Florida
on a golf
life.
Course, because that's where they like to go.
Yeah.
So we kind of touched on the fact that tourism boosts our economy quite a bit, but it's not just the tourism, it's also the military bases. So the economy here in Florida is really well protected and fantastic. There was actually this briefing that we were a part of here recently, and the guy who was speaking, he said, the U.S. is in a recession. We're just not participating. Yeah, that's
true.
Florida. We're like, no, everywhere else they're seeing all these issues and such, but we've seen a slight slowdown in the real estate market, but prices are not going down. They're actually still on an incline. Our economy is just so strong in this area because we have so much tourism and we have all the military bases, and neither of those things are going away. So it's a very well protected area as far as financial concerns.
Yeah, you pair the tourism with the military folks that are out here overall, it kind of like, what do you call it, insulates the economy a little bit. I remember when I first got into real estate, 8-10 years ago, however long it's been now, it definitely seemed like we had a nice little bubble around us of just steady flow of things. Even when a lot of people weren't purchasing at that time, our area still stayed fairly consistent.
Speaking of bubbles for our area, there are a couple weird spots in Florida where the weather is always amazing. So we'll see rain in Fort Walton and Niceville, but Destin is like, what? It's sunny over here. We're going to go on a dolphin cruise and drink. It's pouring over here. What?
We were just talking with one of our agents who lives up in Crestview and spends a good chunk of his time up there, and he was like, it's been raining every day for 6 days, and I'm down here in Fort Walton going, I haven't seen it yet. It's This hasn't hit me once. So yeah, the weather is definitely kind of crazy out here, but that is actually one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people move down here is because that weather is a little bit more stable and kind of stays the same. You get away from the cold a little bit. A cold's not good for us old folks like me and our joints, you know what I mean? But like realistically, it's fairly comfortable for me. I don't like the cold, so for me, the weather is probably one of the biggest bonuses.
Oh yeah, definitely. We don't ever have to shovel snow. We don't have to salt our roads. We get plenty of salt from the Gulf, you know.
You just have to take 3 showers a day in lieu of those things.
Definitely.
Or be stinky.
Or be sticky. I don't mind being sticky. I don't know, whatever.
Not her, just Florida man.
Something else that's kind of cool about our area is a lack of allergies. So even though sometimes maybe the mold or pollen will get really high, folks' allergies don't seem to be quite so impacted by them because we have that constant air coming through off the water. So it's constantly getting pushed around and just kind of away from you, if you will. So a lot of folks actually move here to help their allergies.
And speaking of the heat and, well, the allergies or lack thereof, we have beautiful beaches. I don't know how the allergies plays into that, but our beaches are amazing. Okay, listen, I've been all over the country. If you guys have been watching this channel, you hear me say it all the time. I'm going to keep screaming it from the rooftops. I have not seen a better beach yet, at least when it comes to the sand. The water, I have seen close comparable water, but to date, I've never seen a nicer overall beach if you look at it. Our sand is just, it's powder. I mean, I can't describe it any better than that. It's crushed graphite. It's just absolutely amazing. Feels good in your toes. The water is nice and cool. The waves aren't too crazy, so you're not near the water, you know. Like you go to California and you're in the water, and they have nice beaches too, don't get me wrong, but
they're freezing.
You're just, they're freezing. You're just getting beat up, just trying to sit in the water like this. It's just too much, you know. And here it's nice and calm. You can see in the water. You can see everything around you as long as it's not red tide or seaweed, because it does happen from time to time when it gets that perfect crystal clear water. Actually, just throw it on the screen. Like, we'll see it here.
And speaking of the beaches, we also have springs here, like numerous natural springs here that are gorgeous. And if you are coming from California and you're like, oh my God, your water is like bath water, I don't like it, go over to the springs. That water's kind of cold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was just there and it's so gorgeous. We're talking like 40-foot down drops and it's crystal clear. Just absolutely beautiful and frigid.
And which brings us to our next reason why a lot of people move down here is the outdoor activities in general. So everything from the beach and the springs we just talked about to floating down Blackwater River and enjoying that, or kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding. What else am I missing? There's so many of them. It's ridiculous. Golf. Fishing.
Oh, you're talking about on the water. Yeah.
On the water, boating, off the water, doesn't matter. Yeah.
Parasailing. We've got skydiving close by, airboats, which are super fun.
Take a helicopter ride right around the area.
Yes, there's just everything. And then, like, if you don't want to be necessarily, like, right on the water, you've got golfing, you've got off-roading. If you've got an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive vehicle, you want to go do something like that. We've got camping,
play
hunting.
Around with your Jeep, your SRXs, whatever.
Yeah, there is so much to do out here. There are, a bunch of, commercialized areas. So, you can go arcades and, like, little race cars on tracks and stuff, or, water parks, what have you, or you can go out into kind of the middle of nowhere, go mudding, go camping, go, hanging out with your friends, whatever it is. There's just so much to do in all of this area. I want to say like a small area because it's like our area. It's like, oh, right here, you don't really have to go anywhere and you've got all these options, or you could travel a little bit and have more options. We've got natural caverns, we've got zip lining. I mean, you could do something different every day and be busy for quite some time.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff out here that I'm like, okay, it's on my list. Like I just haven't even gotten to it, and I've lived here 15 years now. There's just so much to do.
Not to mention dancing in the area. There's a huge dancing community here. I don't know if you would think about that as something unless you're someone who dances. You're going to think of like Atlanta maybe, or New York City, Orlando, Miami. But here in our area of the Panhandle, there is a huge dance community. There's something almost every single day in a different area, like within an hour of each other. There's something to do to go dancing like every night. It's amazing.
And what's crazy about that is when it comes to activities like that, there's no end in sight to what it is. Like if you can imagine whatever your hobby is, whatever you like doing, I can almost guarantee there's a pretty big center of it around here and a lot of people that are doing it.
Speaking of things that people enjoy doing, another thing is there are quite a few gun ranges actually, both indoor and outdoors. So if you're a Second Amendment kind of fan, then that is something for you, and consider that for all of Florida. We do have Governor DeSantis, and Floridians, about 75% of them are happy about this. So if you're in search of a sort of red state, if you will, then that seems to appeal to the majority of Floridians.
Particularly in this area here, when you get to some of the bigger cities, Orlando, Tampa, things like that, I think, don't, yell at me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think they lean a little bit more blue. But here in this area, we are definitely very, very red. So if that interests you, well, that's a big thing for us. But don't come talking to me about politics. I don't need to know. I don't.
It's not our job to, have a conversation about politics, but it is our job to let you know that should you move here, there are conversations that, could happen. And this will tell you whether you're going to be arguing or having a good time.
So those are some of the top reasons that we believe people are moving here to Florida, particularly here in our area on the Emerald Coast. If there's anything else we missed, please put them in the comment section down below. We actually get a pretty good kick out of reading those and replying back as we see them come in. So start a conversation with us. We like to chat. Until next week. See ya. Everybody wants to move to Florida. We've got good dance moves.
And not in rhythm.
Yeah, we do.